let's talk about Netflix, the Netflix slump when after the split.
Hmm.
What is the deal
Uh,
with that? And before we talk about that, let's also talk about Nvidia because we are going to Nvidia. So first cohort that will happen next week. Time flies.
yeah.
And if you took advantage of that Market Mondays deal, check your email about the DC. We just finalized actually the details about this DC mastermind. So I'm sure that email will be going out pretty soon. So make
hmm
sure you check your emails for District of Columbia. That's going to be one that you don't want to, that you do not want to miss. But yeah, let's talk about Netflix. It's been the talk of the town pretty much all year last year. So what is the deal with Netflix?
I bet this past week I got a lot of questions about Netflix and if they'll be okay. And there have been other companies that had a 10-1 split and they didn't do as well after. I think the big thing that's holding up Netflix from having more upside in the market right now is a Warner Brothers deal. But I want to be clear when it comes to traditional media. Is there any old legacy media that you would invest in if you, let's say you had 100 grand, that you would put 75 grand into any old legacy media? I think not. I think Netflix is underpriced. Not only have they done a great job of exclusive content, I like to move into podcasting to keep weekly listenership there, the live events. They're doing an amazing job all around. I think sometimes we can underappreciate when the stock is doing incredibly well. I did predict that they were going to slide for a little bit after the 10-1 split, but let's be very clear. Netflix is the gold standard when it comes to media. I don't
Well,
care about
speaking of
Paramount. Go ahead.
my bad, my bad.
No, no, go
Well,
ahead. No, no, go ahead.
speaking, you mentioned the Ian Schwartzman episode, and in that episode, he talked about the podcast and the broader conversation. He said that there was a war between Netflix and YouTube. So talking
Absolutely.
about Google, you just referenced Google as a stock that you will hold, and Google obviously owns YouTube. So is Google slash YouTube Netflix biggest threat right now as far as attention? And if they do lose that battle, is that something that they could potentially harm them forever?
It won't cripple them, but this is really a battle between new media and old media. The question is, can legacy or linear media catch up to Netflix and YouTube? No, it's
Because what if
impossible.
YouTube? Okay, they're playing in two different fields, but now Netflix is trying to cross over into YouTube's field by taking podcasts. What if
Mhm.
YouTube tries to cross over into Netflix field and really starts posting movies? Because now,
They won't be able to compete.
why not?
If you're putting movies on for free to an audience that is worldwide, Netflix is not even completely global yet. They're still trying to
Mhm.
expand
Well,
in terms of the
the
global.
thing with Tubi is that people say what they want about Tubi. Tubi is
It's
a
free.
good business model and it's profitable
It
and
really
it's
it's
free.
very
So
profitable. Yep.
so every movie is not $100 million production,
Mhm.
but just like Netflix is throwing money at podcasts and similar to the Spotify, they don't know if it's going to work. Google, YouTube has enough money to at least try. Maybe it's a premium model that they have. Maybe they throw in.
Mhm.
They already have a premium model,
Mhm.
so maybe they make movies exclusive on their YouTube Premium.
No, I'm saying Netflix would be in trouble if that was the
Oh,
case.
you said Netflix would be in
Yeah,
trouble.
Netflix would be in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
Mhm.
mean, you're talking billions of users throughout the world. I mean, name the country that YouTube doesn't work in. I can name about 15 that Netflix hasn't even gotten to yet,
Has
which
trouble.
is why I believe there's still room for growth with them because they are the new media, right? When in terms of legacy medias, whether it's Paramount, obviously they're going to acquire Warner Bros. It looks like that's going to happen. That they all have tried to take the model of what Netflix has done, including Disney. I see there's a
Mhm.
topic up there. I'm going to shed some light on it where I changed my mind, but they haven't been able to master it. I think Netflix has snuck into some of the YouTube model in a sense where else can we get revenue? Ad
Mhm.
dollars. And so that ad spend has helped Netflix. The new subscribers have kind of stalled out a little bit, but the ad spend has gotten better. They've gotten live sports. YouTube already had that, right? But
Yeah.
I think whether the next thing that Netflix will try to crash in on is gaming.
And they've been trying for a while.
Well, they're going out to sports. They still got a lot of room to go in sports.
The live sports is definitely. I mean, we can see the path for that. There's nobody that's going to top their boxing numbers, right? The Jake Paul, those fights, you can't compete with 170 million views, right? Nobody's ordering that from a pay-per-view standpoint. But gaming is interesting because there's money there, and
it's untapped.
It's untapped in the sense like even now on my Instagram, right? Like if I'm playing Madden, like Madden is now in my algorithm for Instagram, right? And so like I will see people's videos of them playing the game and then giving tips on the game.
Yeah,
that's just one game, but like I know people are like, when's GTA 6 coming out? But like a game like that where it's open source and anybody can play, if Netflix can figure out how to get gamers
like
on
Fallout 7 on Netflix, it's over with. And even when Last of Us 2 came out, I was like, why is it not there? Because it's a natural fit to lead to the platforming of the show. So I agree 1,000%.
Streaming. Somebody's going to end up buying one of these streaming platforms and merging it with their platform. So it's like we talked about Speed. Shout out to him. Man, this dude, he's doing Super Bowl numbers every time that he does a stream. So, and that's a whole different audience. That's a younger demographic that might not be even tuning in to either Netflix or YouTube, depending on what their habits are. So, what's stopping Netflix from buying a streaming company? And now all of the streamers, all the top streamers, you gotta pay the monthly subscription on Netflix instead of paying, because you're already paying a subscription anyway.
I'll tell you what stops them: the capital. If you look at what they have in reserves, right, their operating cash flow, that's what stops them.
Because they run on thin margins.
Exactly. Yeah, and so if you think it goes back to literally what we just said before, right? If you think about Google, right? I mean, number one search engine, right? But that's not the only thing. Right?
Yeah, number one ad platform of all time.
This is what I'm saying. You got YouTube and you got AI, you got the data centers, you got telecommunication. There's so many. You got services, you got Gmail, all those things. It's a conglomerate of things where you're not relying on one sole thing. Even now, when we're talking about the fall of Netflix stock, part of it is because, hey, $72 billion is a lot of money. How are we getting $72 billion to get this Warner Brother purchase? Right. So when you spend that type of money, the stock pulls back because we have to figure out how we're going to get this. Right. Are we going into debt as a company to actually acquire this new acquisition, which will be profitable for us if we do it right? Right. If we take movies out of the movie theater in 14 days, right, it means more people are advantageous to stay home and watch it on it. That works, but we got to get to that $72 billion. So it's not just easy to acquire these things and say, hey, we're adding new debt to the bottom line.
Well, then also nobody really knows the numbers either. Like, I don't know if they made money on this Anthony Joshua fight, because it's like,
true,
at some point in time, how much money can you pay out? I don't know a bunch of people that ordered Netflix that did not have Netflix before to watch the fight. So you paying out $150 million just to the fighters. I mean, you got to start questioning if these things are lost leaders.
Yeah,
which they could be.
They could be. But one of the things that they try to do, I remember we talked about a few years ago, was merchandising some of the assets. So like now Stranger Things goes away, but they can build assets long term for that, whether it's an amusement park or a game, right, where that can bring in more revenue for it. They have the leeway to do that. If you looked, I think last week they put out that new trailer for what is to come, right? So you look at this, Tiana Taylor, shout out to Tiana Taylor. I know she won a Golden Globe last night.
Yeah.
She's like the genie in this new Netflix ad. And they're trying to show you like, yo, we have a lot of things on schedule. Some of your favorites are coming back. Some new things are coming. Here's where we're headed to, again, get that base, right? Because now it's like, all right, we got the base. We lost one of our leaders. We lost two, actually. If we talk about in 2025, Squid Games, for sure.
Yes.
No longer. And they lost Stranger Things. Both shows are done. What's going to take those places? They're trying to push in a lot of content to say, all right, one of these things is going to be the next viral or sensational hit that we have.
Well, before we leave this Netflix conversation, okay, so Google, I'm assuming that's an A+ buy rating. If you had to give an A+ buy rating, Netflix, sure. Is it a buy? What's the rating on that? Because it's closer to its 52-week low than its 52-week high. We always say don't buy companies at their high and to buy good companies when they dip. So that's going to be the overarching question is that Netflix is a good company. Netflix is almost at this 52-week low.
Hmm.
Is now a time that you should be buying Netflix? What's the buy
Uh,
rating?
the buy rating, I would give it a B, um, because to illustrate or highlight both of your points, is this is a battle of business models. It's hard for YouTube to go out of business when the model is pay for your content, upload it, and we'll pay you based on performance, opposed to Netflix has the old record business model where they pay you and then hope to recoup. I don't like that model in comparison. But now what I wait, I'll probably wait for Netflix to get to 77, 73 before I would want to make an entry onto it. And like you said, when the margins are that thin, you have to be precise. And then normally an investor doesn't want to do a 10-1 split. Truth be told, they don't like retail investors owning a majority of shares. So you also have to figure out how long after 10-1 split does the stock normally hover at a lower price than it normally would or below its equal value rating.
Yeah.
The 77 mark is where I like it, but for sure, Google is a better buy. But the real battle is them new media being better than old media. There isn't any legacy media that I would want to touch or invest in long term.
Yeah, I'm giving it a buy. If we're going buy, neutral, overweight, heavyweight, I'm going buy on this. Um, Put this in your calendars. January 20th, Netflix will be reporting its fourth quarter earnings. This is a big quarter for them. Usually, first quarter, fourth quarter are
Sure.
big earnings for them because of the content that comes out in those quarters. They usually start the year with. I know Emily in Paris, so I got my Netflix calendar,
Hmm.
right? So these big shows come out during these quarters, which brings more viewership. Um, the 20th will be an indicator of where we should be buying. If we see it pull back
Yeah,
any further, then we might start hitting some of our metrics. Is the stock down 30 to 40%? Is the option call, if we're doing options, is that down 30 to
hmm,
40%? Those things will be telling. I think it has a good earnings report here. Obviously, the Warner Brothers thing has really crippled it. But I think they'll have a strong quarter. If you think about the things that happened
for
in this
sure.
quarter, the number of fights, the live events from the NFL standpoint, and the NFL just blew. I mean, did you see the numbers for Christmas?
Yeah, it's insane, bro. You
Completely.
got they're innovating. You have to give it to them. They are putting forth effort to innovate on every realm to keep the watch time on the interface higher than other places. You're
They
doing an amazing
averaged
job.
22 million viewers per game. The lowest
Mm-hmm.
being the Commanders Cowboys game, which both teams are out the playoffs anyway. That did like 19, but they averaged 22 million viewers. I think the NBA and the NBA had an all time high. They were averaging like I
Yep.
think 6 million viewers per game or average somewhere around there.
Yeah.
22 million, 3 games, which is insane, especially for a streaming service. So that'll be in the fourth quarter report as well. So I think we should see an uptick, but definitely a buy for Netflix.
Well, the last thing before we leave this Netflix conversation completely, so the Warner Brother acquisition, is this whole thing just a debacle, fallout? Like, is it something even that they should regret? Like, what is the final word on Netflix versus the Warner Brother acquisition situation?
I
I
think it's a great
understand.
acquisition. Oh, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Yeah. I
No,
was gonna
no.
say I think it's a great acquisition. If you can take a legacy brand and everything that comes with it, if you look inside of the things that Warner Brothers owns, you're talking about some real heavyweights in terms of legacy that you can now add into your catalog, and you have the licensing too. So yes, the amount that it costs is a bit much. Is a bit much. I think the the Paramount situation didn't help, right? Going back and
Mhm.
forth and through that whole fiasco with Larry Ellison and David Ellison didn't help them overbidding. For the shareholders just to say, you know what, we saw your deal and we're still choosing Netflix. But I think it's great for their brand because now they get to have a now, I don't even want to call it monopoly, but they're heading toward that, right? Outside
Mhm.
of Disney, who has Disney and Fox Searchlight, Warner Brothers going over to Netflix. I mean, who you're not compete. There's not too many other streaming platforms can even come in that realm. Peacock is
Yeah.
a distant third, and after that, good luck.
Great acquisition. The cost is too high. But in business, especially when the market is facing triage and the economy is collapsing, you have to use your capital to do everything you can to have no competition. The purpose of every business on earth is to be the only provider of that and have the consumers love you so much that you won't get monopoly charges. So they have to make a bid for this. My thing is, if you're paying this much for it, how do you get a 5x return or a 15x return on it with the cost being so high? Because people aren't going to want to pay $70 per month. I even saw some reports that maybe the pricing for the premium package will be $55 a month. I'm like, it's too soon for that. So great acquisition. The cost of it scares me a little bit, but in business, it has to be done. It's like when WWF would buy up all the small territories. Well, you had to in order to increase your market share, just if for no other reason to prevent a newer company coming in and taking share. So, but I do
Yeah.
think they should go to a pay for performance model for gaming developers and Shadi, like you said, for streamers to get some of those costs off of your books.
Yeah, the Warner Brothers Discovery portfolio includes HBO Max, CNN, Food Network, OWN, Magnolia, TNT, TBS, and so there you go with your sports, right? Like,
Yeah.
still got the college football from there, and a lot of the NCAA basketball in that as well. So, yeah, I mean,
How did they not
I,
get inside the NBA? It was some layups that were right there, like.
I think they already were spun off for the ESPN deal.
Yeah.